Alright guys, TacticalRab back again today. I hope you're all doing well and enjoying your day so far. And as the news settles through the community that Huke has indeed been benched from the Dallas Empire, some reasons have started to emerge as to why this may have been the case. Initially people were thinking, okay, is it personal reasons? Then we were thinking, okay, maybe Dallas Empire just thinks some change has to be made and let's just try Huke out, FeLo in from the substitute bench. But Nameless comes out with a video yesterday talking about what Crimsix had to say on the matter, effectively implying that he does believe that Huke was the problem in this roster and without him they will improve. Intrigued to hear your thoughts in the comment section below. Like if you guys enjoyed the video, subscribe if you are new as always, I'd greatly appreciate it. It really helps out the channel. Thank you very much indeed for doing that. First of all, thought this is kind of funny. The banter between Kenny and Octane certainly continues. They matched up last night. Kenny got the reverse sweep Los Angeles Thieves versus the Seattle Surge. And banter like this on the timeline is always entertaining stuff. But questions about Seattle really well, like do they have to consider making a change? Because now if they want to get out to the winners bracket, they're going to have to beat two of OpTic, FaZe and New York, which is, well, not going to be easy by any means. And maybe that even won't be enough depending on how tiebreaker stuff could potentially work towards the end of the stage. Wanted to mention a couple of update things as well to Cold War, because we talked about just a couple of days ago some of the changes, people being very frustrated with the 74U being incredibly slow. So they've increased the base sprint speed on the 74U slightly to align it with other SMG sprint speeds, increased our shooting move speed and reload speed as well, and well, some other attachment changes on some couple of weapons. And also they've done this, they've reduced the sprint speed bonus for the speed grip barrels on the other weapons. So we talked about the other day the fact that because they reduced the speed grip bonus on the AK-74U and the SMGs from 10% down to 3%, which meant the pistols were still faster than the SMGs, then, well, for some reason they decided not to do the same thing on the ARs, and therefore, a Krig with speed grip on was actually faster than a 74U with speed grip on. Didn't really make any sense. They've now made that change, so that's no longer the case, and as they say, as the developers note, the overall goal of these changes is to ensure that SMGs are faster to use than ARs by default. The 74U required some slight speed increases to bring it in line with the rest of its class, and sprint speed bonuses for the speed grip underbarrel on ARs, tactical rifles and snipers required an adjustment to ensure SMGs are faster to sprint compared to these classes when using this attachment. So maybe some fixes to hopefully the SMGs get slightly better, because I think some of the SMG players have been pretty frustrated these last couple of days. This also could be great news for Call of Duty League in general, because, well, as you can see right here, you guys might know the name Joanna Ferries, former, well, head commissioner for the Call of Duty League. Then she became the head of leagues for CDL and OWL, which she still is doing. Now she's going to also become the general manager for the entire Call of Duty franchise over at Activision, which could be a great thing, because I watched an interview, I think, with her and Hex, and well, she seems very passionate, honestly, about the competitive Call of Duty community. Supposedly she's really great at what she's done for the Call of Duty League as their commissioner, and now she's taken on all these roles, and also being effectively the head person for the Call of Duty, well, for the Call of Duty franchise more generally. That could mean great things for trying to push some, well, competitive play, and well, some CDL kind of input into well, what they're thinking about behind the scenes. This could be great news for competitive Call of Duty, but we'll have to see, of course, over the coming seasons whether anything does change, because right now we've still got these situations where we're trying to pretend we're some sort of A-tier esports, and then you're watching a Search and Destroy and it says, well, the game score says 3-2, but actually on the left-hand side it says 5-4 because there's been a restart and someone's crashed and you don't have a pause feature and you can't replay from where you were, all this type of stuff, which, maybe those sort of features should be mandatory in future games. That would be lovely to see. So, well, kind of frustrating to watch, and I'm sure it's frustrating for the guys behind the scenes of the CDL that those options aren't on the table. A couple of roster things to talk about as well. Clay, Mac, Asim, an emergency flank. Hydra will be joining this team in all likelihood. They haven't actually officially announced it yet, have the subline, as they play Atlanta FaZe on Sunday, that being tomorrow as of recording this video. And also LAG announced real quick that Morgs to Los Angeles Guerrillas Academy is happening, so with Vivid gone and Chino up to the starting lineup, it's actually Morgs joining the Academy squad. So very interesting stuff going over with that lineup. And let's talk then about the Dallas Empire. Also, some interesting stuff going on here. We talked about just, well, yesterday now, FeLo will be on the starting lineup Sunday against Toronto as we move Huke to a reserve role. The team felt we were playing below our potential, with FeLo playing so well in challenges. He's earned a shot to compete in the starting lineup. Rambo Ray adds to this yesterday. We at the Dallas Empire make all of our decisions as a team, always have and always will. Every direction we move towards is in an effort to give ourselves the best opportunity to win tournaments, saying that, okay, we needed to make this change to try and give ourselves the best shot. Stage 1 we came second to Atlanta FaZe, Stage 2 we came third, losing to Toronto in the losers bracket, and well, that is a trajectory that is just not good enough. Huke was a phenomenal player in Stage 1 right at the start of the season, arguably the best player in the entire game. Fell off to some significant degree throughout Stage 2, but still was very solid. Statistically, I mean, it's Huke at the end of the day, even not playing at, well, Huke levels, he's still putting up better numbers than your average SMG, without a doubt at all. But regardless of that, they do decide to make a change. Wish them the best. Another challenge for me, and I am here for it, says Huke. Now, as was pointed out yesterday in Nameless's video, he effectively, well, reached out to Crimsix and asked for some some sort of explanation as to why this change was made. And what Nameless has to say is very interesting indeed. So Crimsix effectively speaking like vicariously through Nameless right here, but what he says is that if you look at the minimap, it speaks for itself why this change was made. We'll look at a couple of clips right here. Firstly, this one from Nameless, and then another one which Jay Rains pointed out to me, I think a couple of weeks ago from their major run, where Huke was doing an interview, and you could kind of see in his face that maybe the team wasn't exactly in the greatest spot, talking about how he didn't really feel like he was fully on the same page with the lineup, and now they don't have the best result of the major, they come third. I mean, for the Dallas Empire, the world champions, that's just not good enough. Well, now they decide to make this change, but still, the timing of the change, the fact that they won a match and then dropped him, is, well, still one of the more confusing things to me, even if you're going to make a crazy change like this dropping Huke. So I'll play a couple of clips.
And Huke says, wish them the best, another challenge for me, and I'm here for it. Like, guys, at first when I read this, I thought it was like a personal issue, things like that. And the flank, they were talking about it being a personal issue. I talked to FeLo, I talked to Crim. I'm not going to give away what these guys said, but they basically didn't tell me anything. FeLo said, you know, it's really none of my business, but yeah, I mean, I think that they thought they needed a change. And then Crim said, yeah. I was like, what's going on? Explain, please. He goes, what do you mean explain? If you look at the minimap, it speaks for itself. So, I mean, I don't think it's a personal issue. I legitimately think that they just thought that Huke was not on the same page as the squad and they needed to make this change. Now, do I agree with it? Not necessarily. I think this is maybe an overreaction.
Heading into the major, honestly, just for me personally, it's been like just working. I mean, I'm going to be straight up, like working better with them because, yeah, I don't feel like I've been working we haven't been working together as well as we could be, and we're trying to get back into that form of just working together as a team and as a unit. And I know the more and more we play and the more and more we practice those things, and even for me personally implementing like everything they say, and you know, just working together on top of like, you know, my own games or gameplay and stuff like that, like, yeah, you know, we're gonna be able to do some great things, but it's one day at a time.
So maybe this is the type of stuff that Crim is talking about right here. I mean, this play right here honestly kind of won them the game. It's the play of the game, as they say. I mean, Huke makes this a really long wrap round the back, gets 2 kills and manages to break into the hard points, and certainly helps out, well, the Dallas Empire overcoming the Paris Legion in the series they played right before Huke ended up getting dropped. There were sometimes, I think, that Huke makes some really great routes on the map, like, you know, he's building angles, he's getting into a great position to take down the enemy team, getting behind them, but sometimes you do feel like maybe he does go a little bit loose on his own, and, well, you know, it kind of goes a bit rogue on the map, certainly. And some players do that to great effect, and maybe the Dallas Empire just think that, well, maybe they just need a more cohesive unit, because you could say that in Modern Warfare, where they were so good in 5 versus 5, they just flew around the unit as a, well, they flew around the map as a unit, especially in a game mode like Search and Destroy. All 3 of those guys, Huke, Shotzzy on the MP5s, it was just, well, an absolute bloodbath for the opposition. They were pretty much doing, well, whatever they wanted, and if Huke wants to make some certain routes on that game, then you can probably get away with it a little bit more as well, because, well, it's an extra player on the map that you have to deal with. So all that being said, it seems to me that Crimsix thought, alright, well, whatever Huke's doing on the map isn't really helping us as a team as much as it could be, and, well, despite his incredible gun skill and, well, seems to be a really good teammate as well, clearly they thought, well, we need to make this change, and Crimsix is effectively saying, look, I mean, we thought this situation with Huke was a bit of a problem right here, whatever route he's taken on the map, maybe not as good as they could be, and therefore, well, let's try out FeLo, maybe let's try out ILLey on the second SMG, which seems to be maybe what they'll go for if they have FeLo on the second assault rifle, Crimsix on the main AR. I mean, this is kind of crazy. This is back from the 20th of March. This is obviously during, well, Huke's relatively poor stage 2 by his standards, and still, his overall KD's at 1.12 at the time, hardpoint KD at 1.14, control KD very solid indeed as well, and I'm pretty sure for Dallas Empire so far this season, statistically, he's still the best performer so far, so incredible stuff, and FeLo certainly has a lot of pressure on him, right? Like, he comes into this lineup, we're looking at a Dallas Empire, which is, well, they're second place in the league by a pretty significant margin on 180 points, just 45 points behind Atlanta FaZe in first, that of course, well, they're 14-2 in match count, and still Dallas Empire are kind of within reach, only at 11-7, because they've had such great performances, or at least, well, got so far at these major tournaments, despite, well, their map win percentage not exactly looking so spectacular compared to the top dogs, and that's probably one of the reasons why they're thinking, alright, you know, we want to be the best team in the league, we don't want to have to, well, get second seed again, kind of like we did last season as well, to make the run of the World Championship. We want to make a change now and try and make this work, but FeLo, certainly a lot of pressure on him. He comes into this lineup on Sunday against Toronto Ultra. They are far from an easy team to take down. They took them down, of course, Ultra did at the major, and well, Empire lost to them in the losers finals before Ultra made that crazy run to beat FaZe then in the grand finals, and that is not going to be an easy matchup by any means. FeLo comes into the team for the first time then, and if this team doesn't immediately become a top 2 team, because in stage 2 Dallas were kind of on the borderline, right? Like, I would have maybe said they were still a top 2 team, but it's well, it's tough to say, because they seem to be able to lose to anyone at times, that old squad, and maybe that's not going to be the case anymore with this FeLo lineup, but well, who really knows, and who knows how long this will last. And if well, if Crim is kind of right in what Nameless is saying here, the fact that, well, okay, maybe Huke's routes or whatever are the problem, then, well, are we going to see other teams actually pick up Huke, right? Because I doubt he wants to stay on the bench for long, but at the same time, if you're Dallas Empire, you never want to get rid of a player like Huke and let him go to another team and wreak havoc on your lineup. So some very interesting potential over these coming weeks. I'm pretty mind-blown that this is the case, to be honest, that Huke has found himself to the bench. And speaking of Crimsix, I thought this is pretty cool from Lion Man. This is he's doing these like NFT concept cards here, so you know he does the pro cards and stuff. So effectively what this is where you look at the card initially and it shows the player and then the moment in history, and then it expands out to actually show the player. If you guys don't know, this 6-piece UMG Niagara 2014 finals was well, pretty remarkable scenes, just absolutely smoking these guys. And well, Lion Man did a couple of other ones of these actually. So he did the accuracy 1 versus 3 lineup stuff. This is before he did kind of the expansion on the card, which I think is a pretty good addition. And there's this one as well actually, well, Scump 7-piece versus Spice from ESWC 2016, I guess it was, finals now way back in the day. Pretty remarkable clip right here. If you guys well, remember this one where he was taking down all of the guys on Spice. They went over to Europe and well, this is when the OpTic dynasty really hit form during the Black Ops 3 season towards the end of it. So I thought this was pretty cool stuff from Lion Man. I wonder how we could make these available over time. Thought I'd mention this as well, given all the talent on the bench right now. This is what Chrome comes out with yesterday. I guess I'll put it on the big screen for you guys, saying, okay, build your best roster with only $10 in the bank. So these are the players, of course. We've got Huke, Slasher, Vivid, and Methods up here at $4, Diamond Con, Sib, Slacked, and MajorManiak at $3, Alex, Zero, Afro, and General at $2, and Dylan, Mental, Fire, and Parasite no longer on a CDL roster at $1. So, okay, kind of interesting. What would we go for here? I think that Huke is certainly a good option. I think, let's say Huke and Sib for $7. That wouldn't be too bad. Maybe General on the team as the main AR. I think is pretty good value for $2. And then we got to choose a $1 player. Maybe Fire's pretty good. Haven't seen too much out of, well, Mental certainly. So I think, okay, maybe Fire on your second AR. Then you've got a General as the main AR, Sib and Huke as the SMGs. That seems to be a way to go for $10. That's probably what I'd go with. But intrigued to hear your thoughts in the comment section below. And just to finish off the video with this, these are the games for later today. GG to day 2 of the London home series. Day 3 is coming up. Legion Guerrillas. So we get to see this new Guerrilla squad in action against Temps now Paris Legion. So okay, Chino's out, or Chino's in. Vivid is out. Very interesting change. I don't think it's going to end well for them. We will see. Rokkr versus Mutineers second up. That's an interesting one as well. Can Mutineers bounce back from a difficult showing that they had up against Toronto Ultra on the Thursday? And then the final series, OpTic versus Seattle. Can Seattle bounce back from their reverse sweep last night? I think that OpTic certainly should be favoured going into this one. But intrigued to hear your thoughts in the comment section below. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. If you did enjoy it, I'd greatly appreciate a like on the video. It really helps out the YouTube algorithm to know you enjoyed this content. Other people like you may enjoy this content as well. And I've grown the competitive Call of Duty community. Thank you for watching as always. Take care. And I will see you next time.